welcome to the Hardline. It's your window on the martial arts. Today's interview is with Mr. Haskell Garmaise, who is an instructor of Sil Lum Hung Gar Kung Fu at CUTV Kung Fu Institute. So tell us what Sil Lum Hung Gar Kung Fu is.
Sil Lum Hung Gar is a traditional martial art which was taught half in the Sil Lum Temple, which is also the Shaolin Temple, and Hung Gar, which is Hung's family fist. Sil Lum was developed during the Qing Dynasty. It was not necessarily brought over, but it was learned by the Shaolin monks. And when the Qing Dynasty destroyed the Shaolin Temple, one of the monks that escaped was a man named Jixin. He escaped, met a man named Hung Gar, or excuse me, Hung. And together, they formulated the style of Sil Lum Hung Gar. What happened was that Jixin showed Hung the forms and movements that he learned in the Sil Lum Temple, and Hung used that along with his own development of the martial arts in Sil Lum Hung Gar to produce Sil Lum Hung Gar Kung Fu and bring it together as one style, one traditional style of martial arts. There are many others, of course, but that was just one sect of Kung Fu.
Okay. So what are the defining aspects of Sil Lum?
Sil Lum is defined in kata, is defined by longer body movements, slightly higher stances, longer punches, high kicks, very fluid movements, soft in nature, but yet is also practiced with physical hardness of the body and is practiced with a true piercing spirit, a definite martial arts attitude. A lot of people think when they see Sil Lum or even the Hung Gar aspect, think that, oh, well, Kung Fu is a very soft, not very powerful martial art. It depends the way you practice it. It can be that, as well it can be a very hard and powerful style. And that's the Sil Lum aspect. Now the Hung Gar is pronounced by lower stances, shorter range punches, shorter range kicks, and more physical movements that are tighter in relationship to the body, whereas the Sil Lum is much longer. The Hung Gar is much more narrow. It takes less space to do a Hung Gar form, for example, than it would to take to do a Sil Lum form, like that. And that's the defining difference between the two of them. Together, they make a very well-balanced system of traditional practice.
Okay. What do you see as the strengths of Sil Lum Hung Gar?
The strengths of Sil Lum Hung Gar is of traditional training in general and of Sil Lum Hung Gar. The idea behind it, which is what I was taught by my Sifu Max Laredo, was that traditional training is an aid to contemporary fighting. It does help. It is. And I understand that now, after 10 years of practice, that it does help. When I was a beginner, maybe I was slightly skeptical. But now I really understand the essence of traditional practice in accordance to contemporary self-defense and contemporary fighting. Sil Lum Hung Gar helps to develop the body physically. The katas are a fantastic workout. It is an amazing physical endurance to go from one kata to the next. It helps you focus yourself through kiai, through learning how to kiai, through the abdominal region, through the tantian, the hara, the lower abdomen, where your energy is stored. As well, it develops one mind spiritually, mentally, and of course, like we've been talking, physically. The essence of kata is not to learn necessarily how to punch and how to kick. That's a benefit, but the essence of kata is to learn the discipline of training, to practice kata as if it were real life, as if you actually had an opponent in front of you, as if your life depended on it. You do every kata as if your life depended on it. And that's the idea behind traditional training. And it is in any school, or at least it should be. And a lot of schools discard kata. It's fine. That's their way. There's nothing wrong with that. But for us at Kuroki, The idea behind practicing the Sil Lum Hung Gar is to give ourselves discipline, to give ourselves a physical workout, to understand our bodies better, to learn how to punch in a proper methodology, to learn how to kick more technically and properly, to really develop a more defined system of martial arts within ourselves. And not just something that is punch, kick, kata this, contemporary fight like this, not like that at all. The traditional training is there for the purpose of developing one's self, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Like this. And also for this method, in our practice, we also do mukso, which is meditation. I'm not saying we're Buddhist monks or Shaolin monks, but we practice the meditation in traditional form in the school to focus and center ourselves, because meditation is a great means of clearing the mind and of focusing one's energy, one's internal energy, their ki, or their chi in Chinese.
So when you started out, why did you choose Kung Fu?
Why Kung Fu? Completely by accident. I knew nothing about the martial arts. I was a 15-year-old punk with an attitude. I thought I was a tough guy. Now I know I'm not, or at least I wasn't then, and maybe a little tougher now, I don't know. But I used to always watch martial arts movies. I used to watch Bruce Lee and Shokosugi and the ninja movies. And I always said, wow, that's great. And my father would say, oh, you're always kicking around the house. Why don't you go and study somewhere? Oh, okay, yeah, if it goes, all right, Pop, whatever you say. In drama class one day, I was doing a skit on a ninja, just like that. And one of my friends, his name was Rafi Laluz, said, look, I know this guy, his name's Max Laredo, Sifu Max Laredo. I study Kung Fu with him. I've been doing it for about 3 months. Why don't you come by today afterwards and take a look? I said, sure, great. No problem. I went by, and I met Sifu Max, and it was like no other experience I've ever had in my life. He was, I guess, 19, 20 years old at the time, a very confident man. And certainly just by looking at him, you knew that he knew what he was talking about when it came to the martial arts. Whenever he spoke about it in our first meetings, he knew, I knew. I said, wow, I was very impressed with him. I was impressed with the school. He began teaching out of his parents' basement, and I was impressed that a man that young really had, from what I could tell, a good idea of what the martial arts were all about. And I just got lucky. I got very lucky that I became involved in an excellent martial arts school, just by luck. And now, through the years, Kuroki, which is the name of our school, which means Universal Way Through Energy, has developed into such a fine school. The ultimate goal, which was not known to us then, or not known to me then, is character development as a martial artist. Not just physical, but or mental or spiritual, but to develop oneself within the confines of character. How you discipline yourself, how you conduct yourself inside the school, but more importantly, how you take what you've learned inside the school and bring it outside of the school. And that is what I've learned today from Kuroki. And just by luck, purely by luck is how I came onto it. And the rest is history.
Does your school teach a more traditional or a more contemporary style of Sil Lum Hung Gar?
The Sil Lum Hung Gar, as I said, is traditional. We don't touch anything in the traditional form. That's something that's passed down from teacher to teacher, and we're certainly nobody to play games with history. So we teach the katas that we were taught. Sil Lum Hung Gar is the traditional style. We have a contemporary aspect to the school when it comes to self-defense technique. Traditional forms alone cannot give you the edge that you need to survive on the street. They're a great means, they're a great tool, but the only way to be able to defend yourself successfully on the street is to actually physically, first of all, be on the street and fight, but to practice it, to practice real situations as real as possible. How do we do that? Over the last 12 years, my teachers, Sifu Laredo and Sifu Papadakis, have developed a system which is excellent in coping with street situations. We call it the ABC method to contemporary self-defense. What is that? A is sparring, B is throwing, C is ground fighting. To be lenient, and this is being very lenient, 80% of all fights end up grappling or on the ground. That's minimum, and I will even go as far as to say 95%, if not more, end up on the ground. The martial artist who only knows how to punch, kick, elbow, knee, whatever from a distance is dead if some Hulk grabs you. Finished. You must be able to cope yourself, to be able to cope in the realm of grappling, and that's very important. And what we've developed, the A combat system is from a distance. Someone comes in with a weapon, a stick, a knife, a gun, a punch, a kick. How to be able to defend yourself without even letting the guy touch you. Using, and the idea as a martial artist in that situation, in the A situation, is one strike to finish your opponent to a vital area of the body, to the groin, but most people expect to punch the groin, to the throat, to the eyes, where you finish them immediately. That's the A idea. The B idea is, well, you started off at a distance, the guy came in to punch, your punch or your defense wasn't successful enough to knock him out or to kill him. It wasn't successful. What do? You missed. You misjudged the distance, the timing, whatever. Now this big guy has grabbed you. What do? You have to be able to twist your hip in below his, bend your knees, take him off balance, throw him to the ground, and finish him off that way. So when you throw a person to the ground who doesn't know how to break fall or how to fall properly, chances are they're going to break their head, they're going to split their head open, or break their back. That's the B idea, B combat. B, grappling, from standing up, grappling. B, throwing the opponent down to the ground, finishing him off that way. What happens now? It could be the winter. We live in a climate where you have the snow. Someone's grabbed you. Sure, you've thrown him to the ground. Maybe he knew how to break fall, maybe he didn't. But he landed without any harm to himself. Now he's grabbed you and brought you to the ground with him. And now how do you deal with it? You're in another realm of fighting. You're in the C area of fighting, the ground fighting aspect. How do you finish opponent on the ground? You have to know how to choke an opponent out, either with using his clothing to choke him out or using your own method of choking your opponent out. Or if you can't get a choke, you have to be able to break an arm, manipulate a joint in a way where you finish him quickly so the fight is over. Or you have to be able to subdue him, pin him, make it so he can't move. And the worst place to be in a fighting situation is on the ground, because yes, all right, I have him, but I don't know any 10 of his friends that he has around with him. So you always want to be able to finish your opponent using the A method if at all possible. One strike, one attack, kiai, finish him, bam, that's it. That's how you want to take him out in the first strike. If that doesn't work, move to B. Throw him to the ground. Try and make the throw break his back. If it doesn't break his back or break his head or doesn't get injured, then and he pulls you on top of him, be able to finish him up either with a quick strike or if he grabs you, choke him out. Arm locks. Break the arms. Subdue him. And that's the idea. And that is the essence of fighting today. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to be able to be competent in all three arenas of fighting, A, B, and C. And there's no two ways about it.
I see. Okay, we have to go to a gratuitous advertising break, but we'll be right back in a minute with the good stuff, so don't touch that dial. Hi, we're back on the Hardline with Haskell Garmaise, who teaches Sil Lum Hung Gar Kung Fu at Kudokai Kung Fu Institute. Tell me, what do you think has been the greatest benefit to you from learning Kung Fu?
The greatest benefit, I think, in learning not just Kung Fu but martial arts as a whole is, as I mentioned a little bit before, is the development of the three treasures, which is the mind, the body, and the spirit. Mm-hmm. Those are the most important things that you develop as a martial artist. Above all, because when you get to be 80 years old, you can't punch and kick and do your forms like you did when you're 20, or you're 15, 16, 17. What do you have left? You have your mind, the wisdom of the martial arts. You have the idea and the methodology of what you've trained for all your life, that now you really bring out, eventually, over the years, bring out into your daily life, into your daily routine. That's the real evolution of the true martial artist, in my opinion, is to evolve oneself from the kun, or the school, the gym, mm-hmm. to the street and everyday life in all his social surroundings. To be a martial artist is not just to punch and kick and do kata. To be a martial artist is to conduct oneself with the proper dignity and grace that should be taught to you from your sifus or your senseis, whomever it is you're practicing with. Martial arts is a way of life, truly, and it is something that you should be honored to know, because it really, truly develops you as an individual, and thus will help you develop others through the martial arts and through your meetings in everyday life. If you can go into a business office meeting or a business meeting and say, wow, and the people in the meeting can say, wow, there is a really good man, an honest man, an honorable man, then you've done something successful for your life and for the lives of your family, because you'll be known as an honorable man, and that is the idea of the martial arts. Honorability. That's what the ultimate goal is, to be an honorable man, a man with good character, a man beyond reproach of any sort.
In a minute, we'll get you to demonstrate a kata for us, but first, if people want to check out your school, how can they do that?
No problem. We give classes between 6 and 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday, in the Côte St. Luc Shopping Center in World Gym. You just ask the front desk for Kuroki. You ask for Sifu Laredo, Sifu Papadakis, or Haskell Garmaise. They'll tell you where to go. It's in the back. If you want information, you can give me a call at 488-9694. It's 488-9694.
Okay, tell us about the kata that you're going to do for us.
I'm going to perform Chow Garkyun, which is part of the Hung Gar system of Kung Fu. Chow is the name of the family, and Gar is style. Chow's family style.
Okay, let's have a look at that.